A famous baseball player at the gym today, and I had absolutely no idea who he was. And he was a Minnesota player too, like for the Twins, like Hall of Famer, greatest hitter of all time, all these like records and stuff. Didn't know who he was. I just don't know much about baseball, but the story is still fun anyway. Oh, I'm at a squat rack and he's at one next to me doing like farmer's carries and sitting at like the bench in between his sets and stuff. And I'm doing hip thrusts and RDLs, and I'm just doing like 135. I'm sick, so I'm not going super heavy, but I walked past him to go get some dumbbells, and he's like, how much weight is that? And I was like, oh, it's just 135. He's like, oh. He was like, wow, you're throwing that around like it's nothing, like you're so strong. And I was like, oh my god, thank you. This man's 87, okay? And I'm like, oh, like thank you so much. And he's like, are you an athlete, like are you like training for a sport? And I was like, no, like I used to do sports. I did like gymnastics, diving, track, all the stuff. But now I don't know, like lift and stuff. Yeah. And he was like, oh, like cool. Like I used to do baseball. And I was like, oh, like cool. He said, oh yeah, I played for the Twins actually. And I was like, no way, that's so cool. Like obviously that's really cool. I know who the Twins are, not that oblivious. He's like, yeah, but in the 70s and 80s, probably before your dad was even born. And I was like, well, my dad was born in 61, so you might know. He's like, well, then tell your dad to look me up. And I was like, okay. And he's like, yeah, my name is Tony Olivia. And I was like, cool, all right. Got back to my workout. Continued with my workout, and then as he was leaving, I was like getting water, and then he's like, oh, like, are you all finished? And I said, oh, no, not quite yet. I'm actually gonna go do pickleball. And he's like, of course you do pickleball. You're probably really good at it. And I was like, thank you. I'm not that good. I only learned to play like 2 months ago. I'm not that good. I mean, I'm like not bad, but whatever. And then he's like, what's my name again? And I was like, Troy. I was really close. I'm really bad with names. He's like, Tony Olivia. Tell your dad, like, promise. And I was like, yeah, I'll do it. So then I texted my dad, and then I Googled him. And then when my dad finally texted me back, like 2 hours later, like I'm already home, and he's like, who did you meet? I was like, Tony Olivia? Like I Googled him, just like briefly. But my dad's like, he was like my idol growing up. And I was like, no way, but that's so cool. Like, I guess he downplayed how good of a player and how like famous he actually is. Probably because I had no idea who he was. So I was gonna be like, oh whoa. And he's like, no way you met him. And I was like, yeah, and he thought I was so strong and athletic. Like, this like baseball player who's, my dad was telling me all the things that he's done. He's like, yeah, his numbers retired, and he's like in the Hall of Fame, like the greatest hitter of all time. And I'm like, oh, like, damn, like, so he's like really, really, really good. My dad's giving me all the stats about how amazing this guy is. And I'm like, oh, and he thought I was so athletic. Oh my God. It made me feel so good. It made me feel extra good that this guy who's one of the greatest baseball athletes of all time is like thinking that I'm so strong and athletic. Thank you so much, Tony. That's such a good compliment. And my dad was like, I told all my friends that you met him. I'm so jealous. But anyway, I kind of hope I see him again so I can gas him up and be like, my dad literally idolizes you so much. Anyway, that's my story for today.